one of the biggest issues with migrating Azure DevOps up to the cloud is probably that you're only going to do it once. And because you're only going to do it once, you're unlikely to have the skills already in existence in-house to be able to do that migration. And it probably doesn't make sense to build and maintain those skills in-house because it's something you're probably only going to do once. So for both Microsoft's database migration, depending on the size of your database, it can get quite complicated. Doesn't quite hit complex, but when you start running a lot of the validation tools against it to make sure that your environment is compliant for moving up to Azure DevOps is when you get a lot of wacky stuff. There's deep rabbit holes you need to go into to understand a lot of that stuff, because there are things that perhaps could have happened to your system if, for example, in the past, somebody had a particular version installed and Microsoft made a mess up, right? And they released a patch, and between the install and the patch, somebody made the change that the patch is supposed to fix, but it didn't quite fix the actual data. Then you're left with a data in a little bit of an inconsistent format. And what you normally need to do is run some commands against the system, and understanding those commands, what they're actually doing, can be quite a deep rabbit hole to get into. But ultimately, we've done hundreds of migrations. I've been working with Azure DevOps since it was Visual Studio Team System and it launched back in 2005, 2006. So I've been working with it for a long time. And I built the tools that Microsoft recommend to do the more piecemeal migration. Like, I want to move one team, I want to merge projects, I want to split projects, those types of migrations, which that's a lot, even more deeper skills necessary to be able to run that tool, because it's really, really, really flexible. When you have things that are really, really, really flexible, that increases the complexity and the configurability of that thing. So you need somebody to spend a lot of time figuring that out. We have that knowledge and expertise because we built the tool. So if you're going to do one migration or a few migrations over a small period of time, you're probably better just hiring somebody to do that work. If you're going to do a whole bunch of migrations over a long period of time, I do also work with customers where we train people within the organization to use the tools, and then we help them run the tools on a continuous basis. Help with support, because you always run into crazy things that are specific to you as a customer. Those data shapes that I mentioned, perhaps in the mists of time of your TFS environment, your environment, the database was originally controlled under the control of the developers, right? Because it's a developer tool, so maybe operations didn't really own it, and the developers decided to install TFS 2013 beta 1, which was supported by Microsoft, but can cause lots of weird data things. And then it's on track. It's been handed over to operations, but there's some weird idiosyncrasies in there. So bringing in expertise for those types of things, whether it's for training the people that you have that you want to do long-term, lots of different migrations, or if you just want somebody to take it off your hands and do it for you, that's ultimately what we're here for. You don't need the expertise in-house.